Hello and a very good morning. You're watching Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. Let's take a look at the headlines this Monday morning. 50 people killed in West mass shooting in the United States after attack on gay nightclub in Orlando. Emergency declared in Florida. President Obama calls attack act of terror and hatred. BJP passes economic resolution at party national executive in Allahabad. Credits Narendra Modi of making India a bright spot despite global slump. Prime Minister to address meet today. Congress to approach Election Commission alleging fraud in Rajya Sabha election in Haryana. JDS meanwhile suspends 8 MLAs for defying party whip. Controversial Anurag Kashyap film Udta Punjab cleared by the censor board with an A certificate and 13 cuts. And former Nepal Prime Minister and Maoist leader Baburam Bhattarai launches new party, vows to reform country's political system and maintain harmony with both India and China. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will today address the concluding session of the BJP's national executive being held in Allahabad. He will also address a public rally at the parade ground. On Sunday, party president Amit Shah addressed the inaugural session of the party executive and the party brought out an economic resolution. The BJP is finalizing its strategy for the upcoming assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and for other states, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Goa.
Looking for a winning formula in the upcoming assembly polls in 5 states, the BJP began its 2-day national executive in Allahabad on Sunday. The meet was inaugurated by the Prime Minister and BJP President Amit Shah. Senior cabinet ministers, chief ministers of BJP-ruled states, party MPs and other senior leaders are also participating in the conclave. On the first day of the meet, the BJP highlighted the achievements of the 2 years of the Modi government, with the Prime Minister adding that the party needed to reinvent itself.
2 years of Narendra Modi government, no corruption government. 10 साल के यूपीए की सरकार में घोटालों की और भ्रष्टाचार की श्रृंखला थी। पूर्व की सरकार में पॉलिसी पैरालिसिस था। हमारी सरकार नो पॉलिसी पैरालिसिस, डिसाइसिव लीडरशिप। नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार ने गांव और शहर के विकास के बीच संतुलन का सेतु स्थापित करने का प्रयास किया है।
While many issues are being discussed at the meet, the main focus is on the high-stakes UP polls due next year. Under Mission 265+, the BJP is aiming to bag the majority seats in the Uttar Pradesh Assembly, which has 403 seats. While there has been much speculation over the party's chief ministerial candidate, the BJP made it clear that the decision will be taken later by the parliamentary board. The party says that it will highlight the corruption in Uttar Pradesh under the ruling Samajwadi Party.
Governance and lack of development in the biggest state of India, that is Uttar Pradesh, is increasingly becoming a matter of serious concern. आप बीजेपी की वर्किंग को बहुत दिन से जानते हैं। राष्ट्रीय कार्यकारिणी में चेहरा नहीं तय होता है। हमारे यहाँ निर्णय की एक प्रक्रिया होती है, वो पार्लियामेंट्री बोर्ड तय करता है।
The BJP passed an economic resolution crediting the Modi government with making India a bright spot despite the global economic slowdown. The resolution also said there will be transformation in the lives of the poor due to the various schemes initiated by the central government.
The national executive of the BJP began with the party patting its back on completion of 2 years in power at centre and also training its guns on the opposition. However, contrary to the speculation, the suspense continues over who will be the party's face in the forthcoming assembly elections in the politically crucial state of Uttar Pradesh. With camera person Manoj Kumar, Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV, Allahabad.
Meanwhile, the Congress will be approaching the Election Commission over the recently held Rajya Sabha by-general elections. It is alleging fraud by the BJP-led state government in the state after R.K. Anand, the independent candidate the party backed for the polls, lost the contest.
The Congress will approach the Election Commission today to protest against what it calls as the misuse of government machinery by the Haryana government in the Rajya Sabha elections for 2 seats in the state in which the BJP won.
पेन और पेपर का बहाना बना के हमारा 13 लोगों को ये लोग अपना वोट डिस्क्वालीफाई करके भारतीय जनता पार्टी और कासदो और आरएसएस का कैंडिडेट को जिताया है। आगे लड़ाई लड़ेंगे, राजनीतिक लड़ाई भी है और इलेक्शन कमीशन पे भी जाके हम लोग कंप्लेंट दर्ज करेंगे।
The results of the Rajya Sabha elections in the state came as a bolt from the blue for the Congress, as the party-backed independent candidate R.K. Anand was expected to win. But 14 votes of Congress MLAs were declared invalid, leading to his defeat. Former Chief Minister of the state, B.S. Huda, alleged there was deliberate fraud in the elections and that it was a conspiracy by the BJP. He sought a forensic investigation into the voting.
Forensic science से पता लग जाएगा कि वो पेन वही है या बदले गए हैं। अगर एक ही पेन से वो 12 वोट डली हैं तो इसका मतलब षड्यंत्र है भाजपा और इलेक्शन मशीनरी में।
Voting for 27 seats in 7 states for the upper house were held on Saturday. The BJP won 12 seats. For the first time, the party has crossed the 50-figure mark in the upper house. The Congress has, on the other hand, for the first time been reduced to under 60 seats. It now has 59 members. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Moving on, President Mukherjee on Sunday arrived in Accra in the first leg of his 6-day visit to 3 African countries, Ghana, Ivory Coast and Namibia, as part of the outreach to Africa, focusing on trade, education and boosting relations with these countries. Addressing the banquet hosted by Ghana President John Dramani Mahama on Sunday, President Mukherjee said that terrorism is a scourge which knows no borders and must be eradicated through the collective efforts of the civilized world. He also said that India has been a victim of terrorism for 3 decades and shares Ghana's concern that it has become a global menace. On increasing investments by Indian companies in Ghana, the President said Indian business groups understand the potential and would be happy to invest if the right opportunities are provided to them. This is the maiden visit of any Indian president to Ghana and Ivory Coast. The visit to Namibia by an Indian president is also coming after 2 decades.
India is a victim of terrorism for over 3 decades. Shares your concern that this has become a global menace. It must be eradicated through the collective efforts of the civilized world. India stands in solidarity with you as you confront this challenge.
India moves ahead as a leader in the world community. It also becomes expected that all these countries which were relatively left out in the past have to be carried on board. And this has to be an all-inclusive approach, which I think is a great contribution going to be made by India under the leadership of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. And therefore, the visit of President Pranab Mukherjee assumes a special significance, rather I would say a historic significance.
And let's now take a look at some significant events lined up for today in our segment, The Day Ahead. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi will be in Jalandhar city today. He will be joining the mass protest in Jalandhar to highlight rampant drug abuse and alleged collapse of law and order in the state of Punjab. Senior Congress leaders have been camping in the city for the past few days to mobilize workers for the protest. RJD Chief Lalu Prasad Yadav is expected to appear before a CBI court in Ranchi today in connection with the fodder scam. Lalu Yadav is one of the accused in the fodder scam that involved the embezzlement of crores of rupees from the government treasury of Bihar. He is currently out on bail. A special court in Mumbai will today pronounce judgment on Enforcement Directorate's plea to declare Vijay Mallya a proclaimed offender. The ED has told Interpol that it is obligatory on its part to issue red corner notice against liquor baron Vijay Mallya in connection with an alleged 900 crore rupee bank loan fraud. Mallya had left India on the 2nd of March using his diplomatic passport and is believed to be in the United Kingdom at present. And moving on to the big international focus today, in what could be the worst mass shooting in the history of the United States. 50 people died and another 53 were injured when a lone gunman opened fire and seized hostages at a gay nightclub in Florida on Saturday night. The US-born man pledged allegiance to terrorist outfit Islamic State before being shot dead by the police. Later on Sunday, the governor of Florida declared a state of emergency in the state. More to that in this report.
It was meant to be just another Saturday night, But it ended in horror for people at a popular gay club in Orlando. An attack on the venue that descended into the deadliest mass shooting in US history. Police say it all began at the club entrance around 2 a.m. The gunman exchanged fire there with a police officer, then went inside on a shooting spree and then took hostages at 5 a.m.
Approximately 02:02 hours this morning, we had an officer working at Pulse Nightclub who responded to shots fired. Our officer engaged in a gun battle with that suspect. The suspect at some point went back inside the club where more shots were fired. This did turn into a hostage situation.
The gunman was named Omar Mateen, a 29-year-old Muslim American of Afghan descent. Police said that Mateen was armed with an assault rifle and a handgun. He was found dead inside.
Our SWAT officers exchanged gunfire with the suspect. The suspect is dead. He appeared to be carrying a rifle, an assault-type rifle, and a handgun, and had some type of device on him. That's what we're doing right now, checking the area for devices. There are multiple people that are dead inside. I don't want to give anyone a number right now, but multiple people are dead inside.
On Sunday, the entire nation, including the city of Orlando, was in mourning.
Today, as Americans, we grieve the brutal murder, a horrific massacre of dozens of innocent people. We pray for their families who are grasping for answers with broken hearts. We stand with the people of Orlando who have endured a terrible attack on their city.
President Obama described the shooting as an act of terror and an act of hate.
Still early in the investigation, we know enough to say that this was an act of terror and an act of hate. And as Americans, we are united in grief, in outrage, and in resolve to defend our people.
This is clearly an act of terrorism. It's sickening. It should make every American angry. This would ever happen anywhere in our country. The first thing you think about is you just can't imagine what these families are going through. The families are still waiting to find out what happened to their loved ones.
Mateen, a U.S. citizen of Afghan descent who was born in New York and lived in Florida, was not on a terrorism watch list. However, officials revealed that the FBI had twice interviewed him in 2013-14 after he made inflammatory remarks to a colleague before closing their investigation.
The FBI first became aware of Mateen in 2013 when he made inflammatory comments to co-workers alleging possible terrorist ties. The FBI thoroughly investigated the matter, including interviews of witnesses, physical surveillance, and records checks. In the course of the investigation, Mateen was interviewed twice. Ultimately, we were unable to verify the substance of his comments, and the investigation was closed.
Democratic Party's presumptive nominee for President Hillary Clinton posted brief messages of sympathy on Twitter saying she was an ally of the gay community and used a statement to push for tighter gun controls. Meanwhile, her Republican rival Donald Trump said Obama should step down for refusing to use the words radical Islam while condemning the attack. Investigators have also been checking for explosive devices, and they say they are investigating the suspects linked to organized terror groups. The nightclub Pulse was crowded for a Latin music night, but a fun-filled Saturday night plunged into violence. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And back home, the central government special investigation team is all set to reopen and reinvestigate 75 closed cases related to 1984 anti-Sikh riots in Delhi and some other states. The central government's decision comes in the wake of representations from the Sikh community, especially the 1984 riot victims, and also ahead of the Punjab Assembly elections early next year. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal wrote a letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi seeking a status of the report in the probe. The SIT will reportedly request the victims and witnesses to join the investigation and also provide relevant information to the team. Over 3,000 people were killed in the massacre that followed the assassination of former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in October 1984. And ahead of the assembly elections in both Uttar Pradesh and Punjab early next year, Senior Congress leaders Ghulam Nabi Azad and Kamal Nath have been appointed as Congress General Secretaries in charge of the two states by party chief Sonia Gandhi. Ghulam Nabi Azad, leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, has been made in charge of Uttar Pradesh, while Kamal Nath will look after both states of Punjab and Haryana. So far, Madhusudan Mistry was looking after Uttar Pradesh and Shakil Ahmed was taking care of Punjab and Haryana. Now, the appointments are seen as a precursor to further restructuring of the AICC. The reshuffle comes at a time when talks of Rahul Gandhi being elevated as party chief have gained ground. The appointment of seasoned politicians like Azad and Nath came amid calls for a major surgery from within the party following its debacle in the recently held assembly polls in 4 states, including Assam and Kerala. And the JDS has suspended its 8 rebel MLAs who voted against its official candidate and supported the Congress in the biennial elections to fill 4 Rajya Sabha seats from Karnataka. Following the open defiance, the party leadership also issued a notice asking them why they should not be expelled from the party for defying party whip. Businessman B.M. Farooq secured 33 votes against the party's strength of 40. A 3-member inquiry committee will also be set up, which, after going through the MLA's replies to the notice, would decide on their expulsion. Meanwhile, the BJP also suspended its MLA from Gorakhpur, Vijay Bahadur Yadav, for cross-voting during the Rajya Sabha biennial polls. The MLA had cross-voted in favour of a Samajwadi Party candidate on Saturday. With that, we'll slip into a short break here. Lots more coming up on the other side.
This week we are in the land of Lord Krishna. Let's meet Lok Sabha MP of Mathura and dream girl Hema Malini. How you met Dharmenji, in your life?
His attitude, his behavior was definitely much different than others. Very sober, very soft, very handsome. All the most handsome, wonderful looking men, with all of them I have worked. Chal Dhanno, aaj teri izzat ka sawal. Including my campaign when I go, I have to say this. Chal Dhanno, aaj teri pasandi ki izzat ka sawal hai. Watch me on It's My Life, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Thanks for staying with us on Breakfast News. Well, the India-China trade deficit has been ballooning over the years. The spurt in trade volumes took place on the back of India's rapidly increasing imports from China. India has not been able to penetrate Chinese markets well. Its exports have lagged its imports from China by a considerable margin, thus giving rise to the spectre of unbalanced trade. The government is making all possible efforts at various levels to ensure more market access for Indian products in Chinese markets. Here's an exclusive report.
India has been unsuccessfully pushing for more access to the Chinese market for its goods, but the huge trade imbalance has only been worsening over the years. India's trade deficit with China has surged to $44.7 billion during the period of April-January 2015-16. Exports from India to China stood at $7.56 billion during the April-January period, whereas imports have increased to $52.26 billion during the same period. Apart from China, India has a trade deficit with around 26 major nations such as Australia, Iraq and Iran. The Commerce Ministry has expressed concern with China and has warned that this won't be sustainable in the long term.
It's been a matter of concern for some time now, and since 2014, when we've had bilateral talks, we have raised concern with China. There are identified sectors where we are trying to see if India's access to market in China can be improved, whether it is to do with our pharmaceuticals, whether it is our IT companies doing better there. But the process of accessing Chinese market is rather slow.
India's trade deficit with China has jumped as Beijing has been shipping high-value engineering and electronic goods to the domestic market, while New Delhi, in return, has been exporting low-value goods such as iron ore. India's main items of export to China include petroleum products, gems and jewellery, other raw materials and machinery. Industry bodies have been pushing for outward shipment of manufactured products to narrow the trade gap.
One of the reasons for increased trade deficit is the fact that exports have not picked up to China on the lines expected. If you look at the profile of exports to China 5 years down the line, we were exporting iron ore, copper, cotton. The demand for these products have gone down because China has slowed down.
The commerce ministries of both the countries have signed a 5-year development program for economic and trade cooperation in September 2014 to lay down a medium-term roadmap for promoting balanced and sustainable development of economic and trade relations. India needs to make continued efforts to increase the share of its export to China in order to avert a piling up of trade deficit. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, after much controversy, the Central Board of Film Certification on Sunday gave the nod to Bollywood film Urta Punjab with an A certificate. The film highlights the rampant drug menace and its impact on the youth in Punjab. The movie created a major controversy after it ran into trouble with the CBFC, with officials reportedly demanding 89 cuts in it and also the removal of the word Punjab from the title. CBFC Chief Pahlaj Nihalini, however, said the Film Certification Board never asked for removal of the word Punjab from the film's title. He also said that the final movie was being released with 13 cuts on the 17th of June.
हमने फिल्म को पास किया गया है, ए सर्टिफिकेट में पास है। उड़ता पंजाब टाइटल जो है, जो प्रोड्यूसर क्लेम कर रहा था कि मेरा ये टाइटल गया, हमने टाइटल कभी काटा ही नहीं था। जो शब्दों का मतलब सब्जेक्ट टू जो हमने कट्स दिए हैं, उनको 13 कट्स दिए हैं और 13 कट्स के साथ जो जो उसमें शब्द आए हैं उसके अंदर वो पास हुई है।
4 policemen were injured in a militant attack in Kazigund area of South Kashmir's Kulgam district Sunday evening. Militants opened fire on a police party at Nawa Chaugam village in Kazigund area about 75 kilometers from Srinagar. The injured have been identified as Head Constable Manzoor Ahmed and Constable Muhammad Ashraf and Muhammad Yaqub. Security forces have now cordoned off the area and launched an operation to track down the assailants. On to neighbouring Nepal, where former Prime Minister and Maoist leader Baburam Bhattarai has launched a new party. Bhattarai has vowed to reform the country's political system and bring stability by maintaining harmonious relationship both with India and China. The name of his new party is Naya Shakti Nepal. The announcement was made at a ceremony attended by Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. Bhattarai said the new party is bringing the draft that would see Nepal as world's richest country in just about 25 years. Bhattarai's move to form a new party is set to give a big blow to CPN Maoist centre led by Prachanda. Prachanda, remember, had recently joined hands with some splinter Maoist groups to bolster their strength. Prachanda's party, CPN Maoist Centre, is the main coalition partner of the incumbent government led by Oli. The new party is in favour of directly elected president and seeks to bring huge reforms in the governance system of Nepal. According to Bhattarai, his party seeks for directly elected executive body and fully inclusive legislation. He also focused on youth participation in the leadership. And let's now take a look at some other international stories we are following in World Wrap. A blast at the Shanghai Pudong International Airport on Sunday left 5 people injured, including a woman and a Filipino man. According to reports, the blast happened when a man threw an explosive wine bottle before hurting himself. Initial investigation has found evidence suggesting that the man's injury could have been self-induced, hinting that he might have set off the blast. An investigation into the blast has been started. More than 5,000 suspected criminals, including 85 militants, have been arrested in Bangladesh as part of an intensified crackdown on Islamist groups. At least 18 people, including bloggers, foreign aid workers and religious minorities, have been killed in attacks over the last 2 years. The crackdown aims to reduce such acts after international communities began questioning Bangladesh's secular governance. After a series of kidnappings and murders on Afghanistan highways, officials and travelers have begun questioning the NATO-backed strategy that reduced security checkposts protecting roads in order to free up police and soldiers to go after the Taliban. Roads have long been dangerous in the country as the Taliban insurgency and other Islamist militant groups expanded their reach. Fresh airstrikes have killed more than 20 people in the northwestern city of Idlib in Syria, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. Areas hit included a market, and at least 5 children were among those killed. The death toll is expected to rise because of the number of people seriously wounded. However, it's not clear yet whether the warplanes which were carried out strikes belong to Syria or Russia, as both nations are operating in that area. European soccer's governing body, the UEFA, said on Sunday it had opened disciplinary proceedings against the Russian Football Union following crowd disturbances at the end of the Russia-England Euro 2016 match in Marseille. England fans were involved in fights with Russian supporters in the city before the Group B match, while after the game, Russian fans attacked the English in the ground, punching and kicking retreating England supporters, some of whom were forced to scale barriers to escape. There was also violence between the rival fans in Marseille streets, with riot police using tear gas and water cannons. 6 British nationals remained in hospital following the violence. The UEFA now said a decision on sanctions would be made within the next few days once Russia had been able to submit written statements. France's Interior Ministry also backed the UEFA's threat to sanction England and Russia if their fans repeated the violence.
La Fédération nationale des pays dont les supporters créent des incidents de cette nature soient pénalisés à la hauteur des troubles qu'ils engendrent, dans les stades certes, c'est bien le moins, mais aussi à l'extérieur des stades.
And India's defence held its ground against desperate Great Britain as they clinched a 2-1 victory in the 36th Champions Trophy on Saturday, putting them at the top of the league standings with 4 points. Goalkeeper PR Srijesh stood his ground against a number of shots at the goal, 4 of them on penalty corners, as India made use of a breakaway opportunity created by right winger SV Sunil, and their defenders covered the angles well to emerge victorious. Playing deep inside their own territory in the first quarter against early British raids, India scored through Mandeep Singh on their first raid by Sunil in the 17th minute. Harmanpreet Singh then converted a penalty stroke in the 33rd minute, while Britain pulled one back through a penalty corner conversion by Ashley Jackson in the 35th minute. India now have 4 points from 2 matches and will play Belgium today.
Straight back to India. What a reply that was. To inject for India. Goes to Harmanpreet this time. He sweeps. It's a goal. Harmanpreet, the man with ice in his veins.
And from hockey, it's over to cricket now. A resounding opening win setting the tone perfectly for them. The new-look Indian cricket team will look to continue in the same vein and take another step towards a potential whitewash of Zimbabwe when the two sides clash in the second cricket ODI in Harare today. It was a clinical display by India as they outclassed Zimbabwe in all departments in a lopsided opener of the 3 ODI series, and Mahendra Singh Dhoni's men will eye another fine outing on Monday. That's today. If it was young seamer Jasprit Bumrah who shone with the ball with a 4-wicket haul to shoot out the host for a modest 168, opener Lokesh Rahul helped the team chase down the target with an unbeaten century on his debut ODI. Ambati Rayudu too did his job perfectly, playing second fiddle to Rahul with an unbeaten 120 ball 62, which was studded with 5 boundaries. In the past, India have registered back-to-back whitewashes against Zimbabwe, both in 2013 and 2015 respectively. And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thanks for your time.